The May 25th episode of Raw was defined by high-impact, lawless aggression. From the opening bell, the broadcast was punctuated by steel chair shots and a total disregard for traditional boundaries. Standard authority figures were consistently overwhelmed. Referees were unable to maintain order, and backstage officials found themselves physically intervening just to separate competitors in the hallways. While the constant brawling appeared chaotic to the audience, the violence in the locker room followed a clear and calculated internal logic. Every assault on the roster clusters around one of three specific objectives: the hunt for gold, the settling of a personal grudge, or the demand for absolute obedience. Superstars must identify which of these forces is driving their opponent before the first strike lands, or they risk being consumed by the environment. The most visible driver of conflict is the strategic acquisition of championships. On this stage, every movement is a calculation of risk versus reward. Seth Rollins demonstrated this during his match with Montez Ford. Rather than matching Ford's aerial risks, Rollins waited for a missed 450 splash, immediately exploiting the crash to secure a pinfall. Bayley and Lyra Valkyria showed a similar level of tactical discipline. Even when Dominic attempted to derail the match by sliding a championship belt into the ring, they maintained their focus and executed a roll-up to win. This drive for gold forces champions to adapt to new threats. Veteran Penta found himself at a disadvantage against the sheer speed of Javon Evans during their Intercontinental title match. To neutralize the challenger's momentum, Penta resorted to a high-impact Mexican destroyer to retain his title. When glory is the goal, veterans are forced to use increasingly ruthless methods just to maintain their position against a faster, younger generation. When championships aren't the primary focus, the violence becomes systematic and deeply personal. Austin Theory is no longer competing for a win. He's looking for blood. Following the injury to his partner, Logan Paul, Theory has shifted into a spree of targeted chair attacks. By brutalizing Joe Henry and Angelo Dawkins, Theory is attempting to act as a singular enforcer to protect the interests of his alliance while his partner is sidelined. This same paranoia is spreading throughout the roster. Rusev followed his loss with a humiliating ambush, sparking a multi-man brawl that drew in both Dragon Lee and Ethan Page. Mysterio's recent appointment to an executive role suggests a deeper motive. As general manager of AAA, officials fear potential collusion to protect his own interests. In this environment, every alliance eventually triggers a violent and unpredictable counterattack from those who feel excluded from power. Beyond titles and personal grudges lies a psychological form of warfare: the demand for absolute submission. We saw this in the tribal chief's ultimatum to Jacob. The language was calculated to dehumanize, with threats to domesticate Jacob and treat him like a dog. This tactic isn't designed to win a match, but to completely break a challenger's spirit and establish a permanent hierarchy. Oba Femi has adopted a similar psychological edge. During a confrontation with Paul Heyman, he described how being hit with 4 F5s changed his entire outlook. Femi told Heyman he is no longer interested in a wrestling victory. He intends to end Brock Lesnar's career permanently. At this level, the pretense of competition is gone. It is a primal struggle for absolute control over the roster. On the May 25th episode, these various motivations for violence collided, making it impossible to distinguish a sanctioned match from a personal assault. In this locker room, a single moment of hesitation invites a strike from a vengeful peer or a predator looking to assert dominance. As Oba Femi's threat against Lesnar lingers, the rest of the roster is left to calculate the cost of the next confrontation. The hierarchy has shifted, and the night's carnage is only the beginning.